Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. The Public Enterprises Evaluation and Privatization Agency, BEPA, published a notice on the 15th of December 2015 saying it had valued Botswana Telecommunications Corporation Limited, BTCL, at 800 million pula, with its shares split into 800 million units valued at 1 pula each. Shares that were finally put up for sale last Monday, much to the excitement of many Botswana. This marks the first time the country has successfully privatized a parastatal, the actualization of talks that have been making the rounds in Parliament for over a decade. Privatization, of course, meant to promote competition, improve efficiencies, and increase the productivity of enterprises, as well as accelerate economic growth by stimulating entrepreneurship and investment, as well as reducing the public sector, among other things. Government had long kept Botswana waiting for its plan to offer 44% of its BTCL shareholding to citizens and citizen-owned companies via an initial public offer or IPO, retaining 51% and committing 5% to citizen workers, translating to government retaining 408 million shares, reserving 40 million for citizen workers of BTCL, and making 352 million available for Botswana. BTCL's privatization began all the way back in June 2006, immediately after Cabinet approved the privatization strategy. Initially slated for August 2011, the BTCL IPO launch has undergone a series of postponements. It was first delayed to 2012 and then later pushed to August 2014, before it was again deferred to December 2014 and then 2015. Tonight we give you insight into the convoluted processes that made the listing possible and of course share how you can get in on the action yourself and become a BTCL shareholder. Welcome back to First Issues. The prospectus for BTCL shares has been made available to the public through outlets such as this one across the country. The shares themselves went on sale officially last week Monday, after having suffered a number of postponements. Tonight we get some insight into why it may have taken so long to get to this very moment.
We've had to deal with a lot of skepticism and cynicism, as you all know, in the journey up to here. And not all of it really was unwarranted. I think Botswana had been thirsting for this for a long time. And I think Botswana did not forgive us for some of the slip-ups that we had. As Rare, the chair of BEPA, said, this is only one of its kind. And there were bound to be those hiccups along the way. Of course, Botswana Bagaetsho would not necessarily have understood some of the challenges we were having. And they were right in some cases to be skeptical and to be cynical about the process. But hey, now we are here. All is forgiven, I hope. And we can move ahead with this milestone.
The journey has not been without its trying moments. Key factors that we had to address included the following: having new legislation passed that enabled government to be able to offer shares to the public, the structural separation of BTCL, a daunting task only undertaken under fewer cases, the establishment of BTCL and Bofinet, and that is two new telecom companies, the finalization and securing of an underwriter for the project of this magnitude. The other key factor that we had to address was to ensure that Botswana would have sufficient time during which to prepare themselves to participate in this historic transaction. The other factor was that we had to complete all the complex and important steps needed to be able to fulfill the Companies Act and the Botswana Stock Exchange. I am delighted to inform you that nearly a decade of hard work, sweat, dedication, skill, and passion have been sown into privatization of BTCL. Today, I can stand here and declare that we are done and we are ready to offer BTCL shares to citizens of this beautiful nation.
At the highly celebratory launch of the IPO on the 21st of December last year, various stakeholders involved in the numerous stages of putting it together gave us an idea of the financial, legal and other aspects that had to be fine-tuned for it to be realized.
It has not been an easy journey, but there have been a number of learnings. One of the learnings is that privatization has many stakeholders, and these many stakeholders must be involved right from the onset when you initiate the process. Secondly, one of the learnings has been that there's a lot of public education that needs to be done prior to any process of initial public offering, especially when it involves the state-owned enterprises or public enterprises. The other learning is that we must be aware that there are many decision levels when we embark on a privatization transaction of this nature. Decision levels ranging from the board of the parastatal to the ministry responsible, to cabinet, and in some instances to even parliament, where the laws have to be changed or new laws put in place.
As you can imagine, an IPO, any IPO, let alone one involving the sale of such a large stake of 49%, is a complex process. From a legal perspective, there are a lot of things that require to be done, as you say, behind the scenes. For example, there needs to be a full legal due diligence done on the company, and that is a process which ordinarily takes up to 6 months. And given the time constraints available, that is a process that had to be done at speed but meticulously. And so that is just one example of why something like an IPO takes time. Of course, over and above the due diligence, there are also important legal documents to be produced. You've heard about the prospectus, for example. That is quite a complex document and requires a number of iterations, drafts, if you will, before it gets to a stage where it can even be circulated to the board of the company. So those things taken into account, the reliance and requirement upon the Botswana Stock Exchange listings rules, the requirements of the Companies Intellectual Property Authority, the Companies Act, all of those taken into the mix is what creates, if you like, a necessary period of time. I wouldn't say a delay, but a necessary period of time to do properly.
It's really been an amazing journey. I think what analysts and the general public out there must realize and appreciate that a prospectus is a very important document. It has to be a precise snapshot of the financial position of BTCL at any point in time. So, delays in a listing of this nature are normal. It's a government project. It's the first of its kind in the country. I mean, really, there were issues and there was some uncharted territory we had to go through. Legislation had to be changed. And of course, every time that happens, delays are caused. And because of the delays, you've got to revisit financial projections, valuations, and so on. And there's also a requirement of the stock exchange that you cannot issue information in a prospectus that is more than 9 months old. So it's almost like a constant change, and you've got to do a catch-up all the time. So it's been really unfortunate with the delays. But I think, I'm happy to say to you that we have a world-class product here to present to the general public and to the Botswana that will enable them to be part of a major event of this country, and that is a privatization of the very first government entity in the country where Botswana can be proud participants of. And they can do that with the comfort and knowledge that the process has been robust, it's been challenged in all respects, and be it the valuation, be it the process that has gone into it, and the process from here to the time when it's the listing on the board of the Botswana Stock Exchange, this will be a momentous event for everyone. So I think it's something that everyone should be looking forward to and participate in. It's an unmissable opportunity for all Botswana.
They say hindsight is 20/20. What then do our guests think could have been done differently or even better now that the entire privatization process has now been completed?
There's always an opportunity to improve. And one of the things that we feel could do better for subsequent IPOs is to have a checklist of all the decision points and of all the major policy issues that have to be in place in order to ensure smooth facilitation of the IPO. Another one is to ensure that the many stakeholders that are affected by the IPO are all kept informed at all times.
All in all, how did the process compare to similar initiatives internationally? Were all the speed bumps and technicalities to be expected or not?
Let me start off with your second point. I think the process is at a satisfactory point now. I think the legal team, together with the financial team and all the other advisors, are happy that the product that is now available is one which has been vetted quite carefully. It has taken us an intensive period of time since government reactivated the project in September of this year. How long does it ordinarily take? Well, it depends on the complexity of the company in question. Some companies you can do it in 6 months, some companies you can do it in less time, others take longer. Because of the variety of stakeholders involved in the BTCL IPO, and also importantly the requirement that it be an IPO that is restricted to Botswana. Those elements required us to conduct quite careful legal research to ensure that when we produce the final product, A, it would be valid in law, and B, the Botswana Stock Exchange, which normally requires you to be able to trade shares freely, but to have a restriction that says, look, this is only for Botswana, that is something which required us to engineer and to design quite carefully within the terms of the law, as well as with negotiation and engagement with the Botswana Stock Exchange.
When we return, we answer the burning question, the question that many of you tuned in to hear specifically answered this evening. And that is, of course, how you yourself can get a share of the action. No pun intended, of course. Welcome back to First Issues, as now we ask the big question. One that efforts such as the nationwide public education roadshow that kicked off yesterday, and sites like the BTCL IPO Facebook page and many others try to address. How you can go about acquiring BTCL shares.
We have just launched the IPO. We have what is called a prospectus, a document containing all the information about BTCL and about the whole process. This prospectus is available online, but their hard copies will be distributed so that they will be available at all branches of Botswana Telecommunications and all branches of Barclays Bank Botswana, and selected Chopi stores, as well as selected branches of Botswana Post. In this hard copy of the prospectus, there is an application form. Botswana should first read through the prospectus, and after understanding it, go to the application form, fill in the application form. After filling the application form, in terms of the amount that they would like to purchase the shares with, they can state it in the application form, and then take the application form, submit it to either a broker or the Botswana Barclays Bank branch, starting from the 11th of January 2016. What will then happen is this share purchase period or offer period will remain open up to the 4th of March 2016. So between the 11th January 2016 and 4th March 2016, the offer will be open. Botswana can continue to submit their applications for shares and their offer for purchase of shares. After the 4th of March, we will be closing the offer and we will go into a process of reconciliation where we will now be reconciling all the applications. And in terms of the allotment strategy or allocation strategy, the decision is that of individuals who apply for the shares will be the ones who will be considered first. Thereafter, it will be companies, citizen-owned companies, or citizen-owned associations or joint ventures or societies. Then that will be followed by the investors, institutional investors, who are located as approved by government, who are located on operating in Botswana as approved by government. Yeah. Then at the end of that, we will make an announcement which will then result in the listing of BTCL shares in the stock exchange. This is aimed for 8th April 2016.
The Managing Director of Botswana Telecommunications Corporation Limited, Paul Taylor, was more than willing to divulge what all these efforts now mean for the various stakeholders involved. We asked whether we can expect to see a new BTCL in the next few weeks, seeing that Botswana's first ever privatization effort has now been successfully completed.
Certainly there'll be some changes insofar as there will be a new composition of shareholders. But I think our focus has really been over the last several years, and will be going forward, about competing effectively in an evolving marketplace. So certainly the privatisation will have some impact, but I'd like to think we will remain focused on our customers and focused on our competition and focused on winning. I think, again, clearly the board will probably take new form and new composition. In terms of new ways of working, yes, I think so, but not so much as a result of the IPO, more as a result of market developments and our partnership with Vodafone, which I'm hoping for great things from.
Since the offer opened on Monday, there's been a lot of interest from Botswana. They've been coming to our offices to get the prospectus, and we also visited Baker's Bank, where they're supposed to be paying for the shares and presenting the applications. So many Botswana are coming in. This is a very exciting time for us, And right now I can tell you that we are going to print more prospectus because we have currently ran out. I mean, that's the way Botswana are interested in the BTC IPO. BTCL IPO, ke a rona rotlhe.
Welcome back to First Issues. As in this final portion of our program, we present a quick conversation we had with the chairman of the Botswana Chinese General Chamber of Commerce at the recent food festival they had at Molapo Crossing on Saturday, asking them what the objectives of this event were.
This is our culture. Normally before our Spring Festival starts, we start to have this food festival to introduce our food and culture to Botswana people. It's not that important for our business chamber, but it's important to introduce the culture to Botswana people and exchange the culture for the food.
So does this exchange of culture help Botswana Chinese business relationship, or is it just for social responsibility? How does it help?
It's got nothing to do with business, just social responsibility for our two countries' people to understand how is our food. Just like Chinese people, they want to know what Botswana people eating. They eat meat, beef, goat, and why we eat dumpling, spring rolls. There's a culture behind.
And there was a lot on display today. Noodles, dim sum, so much on offer. Can we expect to see more of this going forward? I know this is the third year you're having this festival.
Yes, we will continue once a year at a similar time, every year, to continue to show Botswana people how delicious is Chinese food, how much culture is behind of the food, and also we wish to learn to understand Botswana food as well.
You said there's a few events leading up to the new year. Is there one final big event after this? Can we expect other events leading up to the new year?
Yes, soon we are going to celebrate Chinese Spring Festival Gala in GICC on 24th of this month. You're welcome to join us again.
You have been here 26 years. As a Chinese business person in Botswana, how has the country been for you? How has been your experience?
I will stay here for 26 years because I love this country, the good people, safety. I love this land. Now I spend all my life here now. I will stay here forever. I love Botswana people.
Final words to Botswana out there who are watching and didn't make it this year.
I wish all Botswana people happy in Chinese New Year of monkey. 发财, make money, good health, good life.
We thank you for tuning in to tonight's program. Make sure to wish all our Chinese residents Xingye Kuaila as we head into the Chinese New Year. Until next week and another issue of interest, I'm Namita Samakula, the team behind First Issues and our sponsors, First National Bank, wish you a good night and pleasant viewing. Say bye.